What's going on, guys? Thank you so much for joining us on yet another episode for Walking Manifestor. And in this journey, we have a goal to help you awaken your highest self, embrace and embody your higher consciousness, a transformation journey with the Walking Manifestor that you already are. With that being said, I am your host, Pena, and today we have a super fun episode that is going to really change the way you perceive your reality. With that being said, let's dive deep. What are some of the steps that you can actually do to overall grow into that highest and best version of who you are? Now, the number one thing I'm going to recommend, and this is something that honestly, I laugh at the fact that I consider like the top of my list. And that's because for the longest time when I was younger, I used to always say reading was so overrated. Like, who wants to read? Like, we can watch TV. Um, that just goes to show how I was raised, right? That wasn't really something that was like instilled. But I say this now because I have realized, like, literally, I have books all behind me. I have books like right in front of me right now as I'm sitting here on my desk. I have books like all over the house. My podcasts are full. My Audible account is like completely to the brim. And it's interesting because, again, for the longest time, I had to disbelieve that reading could actually teach you anything. Like, why wouldn't you just watch a video? And this is the thing. When you're reading something, this is going to allow you to really internalize the material in a very profound way. And I've heard a lot of people tell me, I just don't like to read, Alexa. Like, I'm not going to sit there and read. Then, if you don't want to do that, I am telling you right now, you're going to be in the exact same spot as you are right now. Maybe, just maybe, there's a possibility that you'll skip through the crevices and, get away with not reading and you think that you're moving ahead in life. But if that was the case, what if there was a 90% chance that if you implemented reading into whatever it is that you're looking to achieve, that could actually help you now for sure guarantee success in whatever it is you're doing? The thing with reading is that if you find the right books, you are going to be light years ahead of so many people around you. Because more than likely, if you ask somebody around you right now, and let's just say, you go and ask your parents, like, hey, when was the last time you read a book? Or you go and ask a friend, or you go and ask somebody, a coworker, chances are that they're going to tell you, I haven't read a book in years. And if you are that exception, if you are that person that is reading something, let's say you're looking to, go down the path of becoming a business owner and you start reading books about entrepreneurship, or maybe you're looking to get into real estate and you're like, I want to learn more about the market and what exactly I should be looking out for, or a self-development journey. And you're like, you know what? I want to really have like a culmination of information that I can really dictate what is going to be best for me and what is not going to be best for me. Because the reality is that anybody can make a video and tell you what they think is going to help you based on what's helped them. However, if you read a book and this is stuff that maybe you identified with that is different from whatever it is that the person is sharing with you, that can make such a difference. And that's already going to set you light years ahead of whoever it is that you have in your surroundings. And it will truly have an enormous impact when it comes to your life. Now, number two, and this is something that also went hand in hand with my self-development journey, and that was to start exercising. I remember I used to exercise when I was in middle school, and then I kind of like fell off track. And then I, started actually going back to the gym after I had my first son. And then it became one of those things where you're like, oh, life is happening. I'm busy. I will go later. I'll go later. I'll go later. And the later definitely catches up to you. So after my second son, I had just completely neglected my health. I really was not taking care of myself in the best way possible. And it was until the point where I realized, you know what? I don't want to be in that situation where maybe I get diabetes. Maybe I I can't even go up the stairs without like losing my breath, or I'm chasing my kids, or imagine, God forbid, there was a situation where I have to run out of a building and I can't run. These are extreme examples, but this is the stuff that was going through my head. But now being in a state where I actually work out every single day, like at least 6 days out of the week, I have to work out. If I don't, I feel uneasy about it. I just feel like I didn't do my very best. You literally can see the difference when it comes to your overall, not only your health, when it comes to like your body, but your mental health. And that is something that honestly just goes so underrated when it comes to being successful. Because if you're tired, if you're sluggish, if you're not taking care of yourself, it doesn't matter how successful you are if you are constantly tired. And for the most part, you're not going to be successful if you're tired, because in order for you to be successful means you have to put in some work. Therefore, if you're tired, you're not going to do it. And I've heard it from so many people. They're like, "Oh, Alexa, I wish I could, do something better for my life, but I just am so tired after work." Like, you just don't get it, girl. And I'm like, I have 2 boys. I take care of my grandparents that live with me. I have a full on 2 businesses that I run. I have to make sure I'm managing my overall daily routines with not only myself, but with my kids. I get it. I get how overall busy your schedule can be. But here's the thing: when you don't take care of what you're eating, which goes hand in hand with your health, right? When you don't take care of the material you're consuming, when you don't take care of that awareness that you have, you are always going to be under this umbrella of, I don't have enough time. But if I asked you, how many TikToks did you scroll through? If we like added all of them up throughout the day, I bet you anything that'd be at least an hour that you could have worked out. But most people don't like to really face the truth sometimes. I was most people. So again, I'm not pointing any fingers here, but that's the reality of it. So when you start making it something tangible, and here's the thing with that: make it tangible. It doesn't mean you have to go all out and, oh, because this coach told me that I have to do 6 times a week, I'm going to do 6 times a week. No, set the bar to where you're saying, you know what, I'm going to go once a week. And then now it's 2 times a week. Now you move it on to 3 times a week. Whatever is going to work around your schedule. But here's the thing: stay disciplined to do it. Because when you do not pull through, every single time that you don't follow suit, you're letting not everybody else around you down, you're letting yourself down. And this is something that little by little, it creates a pathway in your brain. Neural pathway is what it's called. And in your mind, now you essentially see yourself as a liar. You don't realize that. You're not going to call yourself that, but that's what you see yourself as, because your brain is like, yeah, they said we're going to go work out. We never do it. Yeah, we'll do it next time. We'll do it next time. And the next time and the next time never comes. So becoming very intentional about that is going to play such a huge impact. And I kind of want to add a little bonus on that second note, which is, if you're in a situation where you're an entrepreneur, and let's say you've heard this saying of like, entrepreneurs raise up early and la 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 la. I'm going to tell you one thing, and this is coming from one of the, in my opinion, best brain coaches, Jim Quick. If you don't know who he is, I highly recommend you do some research on him. He is a brain coach that essentially can recite all of your names within like hearing them one time and over 100 names and like one audience that he had. Anyways, I deviate. But he was saying how, biologically speaking, we're all different, as we know. We can have different times in the day where maybe you are going to be more likely to be at your peak performance than I would. So start listening to your body. If you're in a situation where everybody's telling you like, you need to wake up early so that you can, do the very best of yourself, that's not necessarily true. Okay. And I know this is going to be something that some people are going to agree with and some people are not. Agree to disagree if that's the case, but that's the reality. Maybe you're going to be more productive at night because that's what your schedule allows. Maybe at one point that will change, but for now, that is what it allows. And that's literally me right now. I remember for the longest time, I was like, oh, I really want to go and work out in the morning because I don't want to work out at night. And I was doing that and I was losing my entire morning because I was basically having to take the boys to, childcare, school. And then from there, I had appointments that I was like having to push through like later in the day, and I was going to the gym in the morning, and that was like really affecting the schedule. So now I go at night and I make it work, and it works for my schedule. And maybe at one point that's going to change. But for now, that is what works. And that's like a little bonus there for you. Like, don't just say, oh, this is going to work because it worked for somebody else. Like, pay attention to your body and what truly works for you in order for you to take the best course of action. Now, number 3, and this is something that I personally find like super important, and that's going to be to find yourself a mentor. Okay, this mentor stuff is something that I also laugh about because for the longest time, I thought the people that claim to mentor you on something, all they wanted was your money. And that just shows like the level of awareness I had, because in my mind, I was like, if I want to learn something, I can learn it myself. But you see, here's the thing. If more people are telling you like, hey, this is how I achieve my success, and all these millionaires, some even in the 8 figures, are telling you, hey, get a mentor to teach you the ropes so that you can get from point A to point Z a lot happier, easier, and more efficient than you going through all the roadblocks, because we've already been through that. That is going to be such a cheat sheet for you. I don't know if you've played GTA, or I don't even know like what other game I can associate it with. Once upon a time, I remember I used to play that. So that's like why that came to my mind. But that is something that like you have the cheats to this game, because I am telling you literally, this is what's going to help you in order for you to achieve your goals. Now, let's say you're like, Alexa, I just don't have the money right now for a coach. I cannot afford to pay somebody $10,000 for this like coach program, whatever the case is. Okay, do your time to do your research and make your time to go and read the books, because more than likely in the books, you're going to find information that's going to be extremely helpful for your journey. So finding a mentor is extremely important, even if you don't have the money right now to hire somebody to teach you. I know that this past year alone, I spent over $100,000 in coachings because I really wanted to embody a higher version of myself. And this is something that I don't take lightly, because as I've shared in previous podcasts, if you don't know a little bit about my background story, if this is your first time listening, I came from a very humble like beginning. And at one point, once I was actually already like working and stuff, like the most I had ever made in a year was 16,000, from 12 to 16,000. And if you would have asked me that question back then, I would have been like, no, I am not going to invest. But you see, as I became more aware of how much of an impact mentors play in your life, I realized that whatever it is that I am actually investing into that mentor, it's not actually for them, it's for me. I'm investing in me. So when you change that approach, it just completely changes your dynamic. And I promise you that is going to help you so much when it comes to becoming successful, because you're learning from somebody that has done what you want to do. Simple as that. Now, this is another very important one, and I definitely want to make sure that you embody this next one, which is going to be failure. Failure truly is your friend. So this is going to be your 5th tip. And what do I mean by that? And you've probably heard it, so I just want to elaborate and give you some examples. But for me, when I see failure, I see it as something that it was not actually a failure. I call it either a lesson or a blessing, because whether it was a blessing and it came to my life to stay and it taught me something beautiful, and now I get to enjoy whatever it is that that blessing brought me, that's fantastic. Or if it was a lesson, it was not a failure because I learned from it. Now, it's only a failure when you haven't learned anything from it and you keep falling in the same hole. So if you had a failure, quote unquote, I want to invite you to start reprogramming your mind to say, this was a lesson. I am so excited for what happens next, because this particular situation is going to propel me 10 steps forward from where I was, because I learned something from it. But if you didn't learn anything from it, then yeah, I can see why you're concerned and why you would see it as a failure. But by becoming aware of how you are playing out that conversation in your thoughts, you are going to truly break free from those limiting beliefs that are making you think that it was a failure. It wasn't. It brought you 10 steps closer to your desired outcome, which is so impactful in your journey. Now, number 6, this is super important because I feel like most of us have been taught the opposite of this, and that's to never give up. The reality is that most people have been conditioned to believe you cannot do something simply because they couldn't do it. So they're going to tell you, don't go and start that business because that's not going to work. Because either they tried to start a business and it failed, or they've never tried. They're going to tell you, don't hire a mentor because that doesn't work. Because at one point, maybe they bought a coaching program or they hired a coach and they, in their mind, see it as that didn't work, but maybe they didn't work. They didn't put in the actual effort to learn from it and implement whatever it was that they were learning. Whatever it is in life that you're doing, there's always going to be a Debbie Downer, negative Nancy saying something. And a little bonus tip there as well, be very careful with who you have around you because that plays a huge role in how you see yourself and how things around you are playing out. But let's just say you have like your parents that are constantly telling you this, like, oh, don't do this because that's just not going to work. And it's just, no, you're wasting your time. Just very respectfully say, I appreciate your input, but I would appreciate if you would respect that this is what I'm going to do to move forward. And if you don't even want to give them energy as far as like sharing like why you believe that it does work, just keep doing it. And I promise you, when you get to the result that you want, because you will get there, as long as you do not give up, you will get there. It's guaranteed. One way or another, all roads lead to the same action result based off the actions you take. So maybe it wasn't exactly how you wanted it to happen, but it happened. So by not giving up, you're building this resilience within you that just knows like, okay, maybe I was looking to make 100,000. Let's just use an example, monetary example quickly. But let's say you wanted to make 100,000 and let's say your business failed. Maybe that, again, lesson allowed you to know exactly what you need to do on the next business. Don't allow that quote unquote failure stop you from trying again. That lesson could be the blessing in disguise that you needed in order for you to truly achieve what it is that you were meant to achieve. And the last one that I'm going to leave you with, this is something that has been a very impactful part of my life, my journey, and that is to become aware. Awareness is a beautiful thing. Awareness of what you're constantly telling yourself. You see, how do you think you would carry yourself if you had like this microphone on the side of your head at all times that was like saying what you're thinking out loud? Like, just think about that because I visualize that a lot. And this has really helped me condition my mind to have a different perspective about what it is I'm saying to myself internally. So before, if something went wrong, I'd be like, oh my gosh, you know, freaking idiot. And I would, and again, if you're thinking about it, spells, spelling, it's like spells. Okay. Like you're literally, that's what they call it, spelling. You're casting a spell. Words carry a frequency. You have actually something that God has given you that you are speaking it into existence. So when you're saying these things and you are talking negatively about yourself or about others, all you're doing is creating this like overall resistance around you that is an energy that is very, very time consuming, very daunting, and overall just makes you feel like you're always in a lack mentality. So by starting to become aware of what is that story, if I had this microphone that everybody can hear, Alexa told me to picture a microphone. Now I'm going to picture a microphone next to my head every time. Would you want to say that about yourself? Would you want to say that about that other person? Because even if you're speaking ill about somebody else, if we're all connected, if you believe in the law of one, we are all connected, then you're also doing that to yourself. So when I have a moment where, and again, we're human, so we are experiencing our human in this world. by allowing ourselves to just like catch the moment and realize like, okay, this didn't work out. It's okay. Everything is going to work out. Even if this path didn't work out, I know that the next path is going to work out exactly the way it's supposed to. Or my kids are driving me a little off the walls right now. Don't say they're driving you crazy because again, you are casting a spell there. But just say they're definitely being very, very interesting today. But you know what? What if this was the last day I ever had them? Or you know what? My husband is really upsetting me, or my wife is really upsetting me, my boyfriend, my girlfriend, whatever, my friend. What if this was the last time I ever saw them? Those perspectives have a way of impacting your life to just become so aware of what it is you're constantly telling yourself. You see, most of us, we're always on autopilot. We're not aware of what we're saying, therefore, we're just on autopilot. We're on cruise control, right? It's just like boom, reaction, reaction, reaction. And you don't have the ability to control others, but you do have the ability to control you and how you react to others. I made a TikTok not too long ago, and it was talking about your responsibility. So, responsibility being separate. So, your ability to how you respond. Isn't that beautiful? Like the responsibility word drives from your responsibility. I forgot what book I read it in, but again, goes back to the whole tips about, reading. And I was like, oh my gosh, that is such an aha moment because I was like, that is so true. Your responsibility is how you react to everything around you. I don't know who holds tomorrow, is what my son said. I don't know where he read it from. But again, as you act, that's how they're going to learn what you're doing, not how you're telling them to act. But he told me, Mom, we don't know we don't know what tomorrow holds, but we do know who holds tomorrow. And that is so profound because that is true. You have the ability to control how you respond to anything, whatever it is that's happening in your life. Remember, it is happening for you, not to you. With that being said, these are my takeaways from 2023 that truly helped me elevate and grow. My business has been thriving more than ever. I have been manifesting beautiful relationships into my life. I've been attracting beautiful people into my life. I've been attracting beautiful clients into my life. And I share all of this because, again, I've been vulnerable with you guys to share a little bit about my story and where I come from. So this is not coming from a place of look at me. This is coming from a place of you can do it too. So I hope you have a fantastic and blessed day. Thank you so much for listening. And with that being said, remember, you are a walking manifestator and you absolutely can manifest anything you desire. The choice is yours. I'll talk to you on the next one.